Hello. All right, so we are getting started live. I was outside and my hair got all blown around. So it is a beautiful Sunday here in Louisville. So definitely get outside whenever you can. And I'm gonna touch on that just a moment as we get started too on some really helpful tips of why you might not be losing weight, and why your digestion might have slowed, and how we can start implementing some new strategies to help with that. And they're very all natural, super easy to do. So if you are attending live, drop your comment in, just say hey, or say live, or say happy Sunday, whatever you want to do. Just drop a comment in there so I can see who's attending live. And then if you are watching this on a replay, then type replay and pretend like you're here live watching it with me. I'm going to be on the mat. So things you might want as you join this workshop today. You might want a notebook to take some notes. We're going to talk a little bit. We're going to do some yoga. I'm going to show you some specific tools that you can use. Hey, Jamie. Give you some tools that you can utilize, and then I'll reiterate them. So while we're doing yoga, don't worry about taking notes. We'll take notes before, and I will reiterate them afterwards so you can take notes then as well. So, first off, if you are practicing yoga with us today, and if you don't want to practice and you want to just watch, that's totally fine. I won't know, right? But if you do want to practice yoga with me, and have this session today, or even go back and watch it again, you will have a yoga mat and you can use yoga props. Yoga props are extremely helpful if the ground seems very far away for you. You could utilize yoga blocks. You can utilize a chair. You can have a chair and it can assist you getting down to the floor. And I want to say that because I don't want you to think that you are less than or doing less than yoga because you have to use props. That is absolutely not true. So, what is yoga, first and foremost? And I'll put this in a very short way because I could go on for days. Yoga is being in the present moment. Yoga is breath. Yoga is energy. Often we get this concept of yoga of what Americans, or this Western world has brought yoga into our lives as being this exercise, this very physical, postural experience, and it has to be perfect, and there's attachment and stereotype. That is not yoga. That is not the real form of yoga. The real form of yoga are these postures that we move through in order to train our breath, move the energy that's stuck in the body, and prepare us for meditation or savasana. Okay, I mean, there's a lot more to it other than that, but being in the present moment, this like mindfulness movement, that really is yoga. But often we get caught up in this other construct of what yoga should and shouldn't be. So, whatever you do, I always say it's perfectly imperfect. Just do you. Allow yourself to feel good. Allow yourself to move it, and we're seeking balance within the body and mind. Okay. Now, first and foremost, let me touch on that topic of outside. And I'm allowing some time for people to join us as well as we get into this conversation, and this is where you might want to take some notes. We live in a world where we are often turning the air conditioner and heat on, and we are providing ourselves a ton of comfort, meaning that we're keeping this like constant temperature, and we're constantly adapting so that we can keep a constant temperature. Our bodies are designed to adapt. And so allowing ourselves to get outside, to be cold, to be hot, to be a little uncomfortable, and allow ourselves to adapt will actually stimulate your metabolism. we are slowing our metabolism and our digestive system down by constantly seeking comfort. Kind of crazy, right? Like, there's a whole book on just this. Your metabolism will speed up by allowing yourself to get outside. And this is where we see these beautiful school systems, if you haven't yet, like the Waldorf school, where it's like you're going outside every day no matter what, just get the right clothes on, rain, shine, whatever. That's what our bodies are meant for. Our bodies are meant to play, to be outside. And one thing that really, really slows our digestive system down is stress. Being in survival mode, being in constant stress, and normally when we're sitting all day, takes us out of this playful sense of allowing ourselves to open up. And so when we sit and we stress, our breathing gets really, really shallow. Okay, so we'll start to have this very, very light breath, and we won't even see our breath moving in us. And that's where it gets dangerous, because that is when we are putting more stress on our heart. Either our blood pressure is going up or down, and we start to get a larger waistline on us because our digestive system has slowed. When you are in stress response, your body says, we're in stress, we're in fight or flight. Back in caveman times, a tiger is chasing us. We don't need to worry about digestion. And so one of two things will typically happen, although if you're in this class, it's probably one of those, is sometimes we get people that get like IBS, and where they're just constantly, they can't keep anything in their system. And then the other group is, we don't have time to stop and go to the bathroom. Let's lock it down, shut it down. Let's just save what we've got. We'll figure that out later because we're in stress and survival mode. And that's what we're here for today. And another big component of that is, for one, we're condensing. Our energy, everything is pulling inward. And so this is part of the yoga that we'll be doing today as well. And I encourage you to do these movements at home. Is when we're stressed, we're pulling inward. You think like curling up into fetal position. There's this constriction that happens, and it's even happening within our digestive tract, where it's slowing down, it's constricting, and then it's also compacting. Now, when we are open, playful, happy, we feel free, we feel thriving, you'll often even see these pictures of people where their arms are up and they're like jumping around and they're, doing all of these big movements. And this is this expansion. This expansion is happening. And as this expansion happens, our breath gets bigger along with it. And even down into our internal level, expansion is happening. And this is where, we're feeling playful, we're feeling happy, we're breathing, we might even be shouting, and we're running, and like oxygen is happening, and some of y'all are probably like, no, I'm still not running. And we get into what we call rest and digest. And so we're able to start letting stuff move through us because our body says, I'm free, I have free time, I have time to play, I'm not stressed. Like, let's empty out our system. I've got food readily coming to me, and I must be in a tribe. Because if I'm happy, I'm in this tribal mentality, and food is readily available to me. I have people that are taking care of me. I feel welcomed. So our mind really works in this tribal mentality. When we feel stressed, when we feel alone, we feel like we're in survival. And we can trick our mind, right? So allowing yourself to feel free, to feel playful, and other benefits of playfulness is also for your mind. So our memory improves when we're in playfulness. And in fact, having regular daily playful activity is shown to really prevent or slow down the onset of dementia and Alzheimer's. So it's really, really important for us to have this play and this expansion. And so today, there's a couple key muscles that we really need to work with. So I'm going to back up so you can see me, and I will probably talk a little bit louder to make sure that you can hear me. So working with the digestive system, one key thing that we will be working on today, and this is where if you do need a couch pillow, a blanket, you can even fold your yoga mat in to support that knee. We're working on the psoas. So the psoas attaches, not detaches, we don't want that, attaches on that 12th rib, the lower ribs. It comes through, moves, and is wrapped around all of our digestive system, and then attaches onto that front. And so here, as we sit all day and we sit in this constriction, this starts to shorten. And what it's also doing is it's compressing and wrapping up our digestive system. And so when we start to free this, our digestive system starts to be free. And again, we want this freedom. We want these big movements. And so let's go ahead and play with that just to start, because this is more of like what I call play shops. So go ahead and find yourself just in this kneeling position. You can also do this standing. You can also do this in a chair. So if you're like, I'm not comfortable getting on the floor, especially I'm home alone, I don't know if I'll get up off the floor. I work with people like that all the time, so no worries. And I even have my days where I'm like, I just don't feel like getting on the floor. So I have an autoimmune condition, celiac, and there's some days where I'm just achy and I don't want to get on the floor, and that's okay. Honor your body if you're there. So I'm going to show you the floor version. Pretty easy. If you're standing, you would be on your back toe. You are getting a little bit of balance, and then that knee can drop a little bit. So you don't have to be a fully straight leg. Now, if you're doing this in the chair, you're just going to be sitting sideways, and this thigh is bent, and this leg, what we say in class is laces down or heel out. So you can stretch this as big as you'd like. Okay, so lots of different options. There's 3 different options of how you can do this psoas stretch to help loosen up. Now, any of these that you land in, something common that can really happen is we'll feel a lot of pressure in our low back because we're trying to assist this, that we might start to dump or we start to overarch. We're looking for the shoulders to just be over the hips. Now, at first, you're probably like, oh, this is a lot. The key is the breath. And so we were talking about that playfulness. We would breathe easier. And when we have this consistent, steady breath, we're telling our body that we're putting ourselves in this position on purpose. And so it might take you a few breaths. So you stay whichever one you chose. I'm going to come back to the floor. And we're going to stay on that one side. Now, here, this might be enough for you. Okay, this might be enough. You're like, I'm already feeling it. I'm already struggling breathing while I'm here. That's okay. Otherwise, if you would like to take it to a little bit more, like upping it to another level, we would do this little bitty tailbone tuck where the belly button scoops in. So I like to think of like an ice cream scooper. And we're just doing these little pelvic tilts. Now, as we do these pelvic tilts, you might start to notice a little flexion. You might even notice yourself spinning a little bit to try to assist. We don't want to spin. We really want this front to back movement. So front to back movement. So you can even place your hands on your hips. Any type of hand placements help with our proprioception. So it allows us to gauge where we are in space. And here we've got that exhale. Exhale. And I'll tell you more about the breath here just in a moment. Let's get through on this side. Let's do 3 more. And this is more this yoga therapy, yoga play shop style. And I really encourage this in my workshops because this is more like what yoga is going to be like for you at home. So when we do yoga in a class and we're being led, that is intended to be that way. When you're doing yoga at home, you can do that for yourself, but it doesn't have to be. And often our home practices aren't that way. It's more of this, what does my body need today? How can I get on my mat? How can I move and honor my body? Let's switch to the other side. So if you're in the chair, you'll just rotate to the other side. If you're standing, just switch the feet. If you're on the floor, it's a simple, just switch to the other side. Now let's talk about this breath. So we're just going to stay here for a moment. We're letting the hips adjust. We're just noticing ourselves in relation to the floor, in relation to the ceiling. And you might even notice this like opening up. You can push yourself open and you might feel it. Or notice if you're a little bit more restricted and still honor wherever you are today in that. Okay? Now let's look at the breath. So again, we want to get ourselves out of that stress response and into rest and digest. We do that by, again, that breath, that consistent breath. We're telling our body that we're doing this on purpose. And as we take these deep breaths, we can do the big belly breath. And so it's really this belly moving. And so you might imagine if you had an inner tube around your belly and you were to breathe, you would fill the inner tube up on that inside, that hollow, that inside donut part, and then you would release. And so you'd feel this expansion. So there's different ways. We can place the hands on the belly. We could place the hands on the rib cage and feel the rib cage expand. And we want to make our belly big. We're bringing all that air and that nutrients, the nourishment, to the intestines. And so we can have, get this, up to 15 pounds of backed up junk hanging out here. 15. We can have up to 15 pounds of backed up junk just sitting in here. Now, first of all, for weight loss reasons, we're like, yeah, I want to get that out because that would allow my stomach to go down. It would allow me to move better. And so there's this very just physical component. Now, if you're here and you want to do those pelvic tilts, and you can do this in the chair, you can do it standing, feeling that tailbone tuck, feeling the belly button pull in, and you can start to even work as if you were doing little crunches. And so core work is really important, but we don't have to do that on the floor standard core work. So this is even more beneficial because we're squeezing, so we're trying to push all of the junk out, but we're also helping all of the stuff that would be tight and hindering even that. Okay? Now, as we have the junk just sitting in it, it's holding toxins. It's all the stuff that our body couldn't use for nutrients is sitting there. And so all this toxic waste is building up in our body. It can cause mental fog. It can cause hormone issues, thyroid issues, fertility issues. So it can cause a lot. It can cause anxiety, depression. It can cause us, for one, just to feel tired and feel yucky, like we just can't twist, we can't move, we don't have control of our body because we've got this backed up buildup here. And so we really want to work on that. All right. Coming out of this posture, you can come back to seated in your chair. You can come onto your kneeling position, which most people don't tend to like that. Or you can come onto sitting on your bottom. So if you're in the chair, and I'll show you this one here in a moment too, loosening up these hamstrings. So a lot of people don't think that your hamstrings are going to have anything to do with your digestive system. We tend to get a lot of low back pain if you're also really built up and backed up. And so these hamstrings, when they get really tight, tend to put a lot of stress on that low back, which in turn is putting stress on that psoas. So the body gets out of alignment. Now here, you can do this in this standard, just feet out. You could have a pillow underneath your knees if that doesn't feel good for you. Or you could have the support of one foot in, which does cause a little bit of rotation. We will be doing some twists today. So you use your best judgment on how much you want to twist. This is a very gentle twist, and is perfectly fine even if you're pregnant or you have low back issues. This one tends to be pretty safe for people. Now, if you're in the chair, you would just have one leg extended. Okay, and I will show you that. So stay there if you want to stay in the seated position. So here, we could have one foot out, and then this knee would just be slightly out. And so we still have this slight rotation that we're facing towards that foot. Now again, if you're utilizing yoga blocks, you could have a block under your foot that would lift that up even more for you. You could even have, a pillow of some kind there as well. So you choose, find out what works for you, and this can be one of your new protocols to do at home and practice. So here we really want to crease at the waist, seated on the floor or in a chair. And as we're creasing at the waist, again, we're crunching and we're pushing in and we're contracting in through the digestive system to help with this squeeze. And that's one of the great benefits of crunches. But in this point, we're not necessarily squeezing, we're just going to fold over. But in order to do that, we don't want to just round into it, which is what I often see. We want this elongation, so chest up, shoulders back. Allow yourself to lengthen that spine as much as you can. And this is where you might start to feel the core engage. Try not to bring your ears to your shoulders though, keep those down. And then we start this almost like curtsy bow. And you might find, I can't go as far. And that is perfect. It's not about how far we're getting into the pose. This is about the alignment, the posture, the breathing. This is about what we're doing, the purpose, the intention. And so find yourself with just this inhale up and exhale crease. Inhale up and exhale crease. And you might not crease that much, and that's okay, because if the hamstring needs a little bit of support and love and grace, give it to it. Because eventually where we would be, and I'm not going to go too far in the chair because I don't want to fall out, and the same rule applies for you, but if we're on the floor, we're starting to really crease in. And so here we're working through that digestive system. By doing one leg at a time, again, this is more beneficial because we're allowing ourselves that slight twist, but we're also working on one side of the digestive system at a time. So go ahead and just keep breathing. So this inhale up, exhale fold. Spending time in yoga or meditation for that consistent, even breathing is really, really supportive for your digestive system to allow yourself to help with that release. Bring yourself back up, and then we're just going to switch sides. So whether you're on the floor or in the chair, I'm going to come back down to the floor. So you stay wherever you need to stay. Switching sides. And again, this elongation and this fold. So we have our ascending and descending colon. What we want to do is work one side, work the other. We're starting to stimulate the digestive tract as it's in momentum. Now, other tips, and I'll remind you of these afterwards, is you can take some peppermint oil along with another oil, like a base oil, such as coconut or almond oil or just olive oil, any of those, and mix the peppermint oil in, and you can rub it in circles. And I'm going to show you a little stomach massage that you can do as well. And I'm going to show you with my clothes on, but ideally what we would be doing, and I'm just working this inhale, this exhale. What we would be doing is in bed, in the morning, at night, or both. You would lay in bed, put the oil on your stomach, and give yourself a nice little circle massage on the stomach. So it's massaging the intestines, and we're stimulating that digestion. Now, some people will ask, what about laxatives or anything that I can be doing to help stimulate the digestion? One, first thing you wake up in the morning, warm to hot lemon water. You can put a little honey in it if you'd like, and if you don't like the lemon, okay, still drink some warm, so room temperature. Cold water is not so great for your digestive system. So lukewarm, warm, or hot water to really help push that through. Drinking water before you eat is also really important. All right, let's take a little break from this. And then feel your hamstrings. We also want to warm up the hamstrings if they're really tight, especially people that suffer with poor digestion. You may want to warm your hamstrings up in more of these gentle ways before going into sun salutations. Now, sun salutations were typically designed not only to help us sit better for meditation, but also to stimulate digestion. And we're going to take a couple little twists before we get into our sun salutations. So you can sit with your feet together, or you can crisscross. You can also be in the chair with just your feet on the floor. So either one is fine. We're going to take one hand and take it to the opposite knee. If you're in the chair, you're still bringing it to the opposite knee. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, rotate through the core. So be careful. Do not pull yourself. We want to really use that core. So I'm going to do it without my hands just so you see. Lengthen and then rotate. Lengthen and rotate. So we're going to stay here, but we're going to keep that same lengthen and rotate. And you might have a pillow or a blanket behind you for that other hand. We really want to focus our breath. See if you can focus your breath and feel your breath in the midsection. And we can engage the spine and twist the spine to calm the nervous system. Again, take it to your level. This does not have to be an intense twist. This can be very gentle and just focusing on the breath. So it's perfectly okay to warm up before you do your yoga warm-up. Perfectly fine. And in fact, if you're in a high stress response where you're having poor digestion, I recommend it. That's where maybe it's getting to your yoga class a little early and just sitting and breathing, and doing some gentle movements. Bring yourself back to center and just take a moment to notice. How did that feel? And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So opposite hand to knee. You might switch your pillow around if you need that little prop up. And then inhale, lengthen. Exhale again, as if you had no hands pushing and pulling. They're just there for placement. Notice if one side feels easier than the other. So our spine can often sway to one side more than the other, which can cause those imbalances as well. Notice if you'd like to look over that back shoulder. Notice if you can breathe into that midsection. And then bringing ourselves back to center. Notice how that feels for you. We'll be moving through our sun salutations next. Now you can do these standing. You can also do them with the support of a chair. So if you do have an achy low back, or it gets achy often, or maybe you just don't want to keep getting on and off the floor because it's not friendly for your joints, that is perfectly fine. So we're going to come up to standing, and you can be graceful or not graceful. So ideally, most of the time we're at the front of the mat. I'm stepping back so that you can see me. Take your feet hip width apart. I'm going to soften the knees. So again, often digestion problems come about because we're in our head and out of our body. So we're way up here. We're not allowing ourselves to relax and release and feel heavy in our feet. Now I'm going to have the chair nearby just so I can show you those modifications as well. So to utilize the chair, I'm utilizing the seat of the chair as my floor. And so that way I'm not putting my hands on the floor in down dog. So that's where your modification would be. So as we're here, we're just allowing ourselves to feel heavy in the feet. See if you can push down through the big toe, through the pinky toe. They're all the toes in between. See the toes, feel the heels, and then let yourself relax those muscles around the tailbone. And you can have that soft bend in the knees. And again, we want that more playfulness. And so if you notice you're being tense and you're trying to get the posture right and all of that, that's that constriction, and we want this expansion. Now there is a balance because when we're moving through it, if we were all loosey-goosey, we could also hyperextend. And so we want to find that balance, that middle path, where we're playful, but we feel our muscles being engaged. And so as I shift the weight from foot to foot, I have this readiness, but I also feel this power where I'm pushing into the floor. Loosen up the hips, loosen up the belly, maybe you wiggle out the shoulders. So just notice if you have any tension here. And then we're gonna inhale, reach up. And as we exhale, I like to bring my hands together and in. Again, this supports through the belly and that low back. Bend the knees as much as you need to. And we'll start to melt down towards the floor. You can use your thighs. You can hold the thighs and just let the head rest here. Slowly work your way down. Normally, again, a lot of this area is built up, and I know because I have celiac, my intestines are damaged. They're healing, of course, but in that, my digestion is really slow as well, and so that's how I know so much about this area, and knowing how it feels. So I'm right there with you. Release the elbows, relax the neck, and you can allow yourself to feel as heavy as you like. You can also utilize that chair and let the elbows come down because we don't want to hyperextend. We don't want to force it. Again, we want that balance between strength and relaxation, playfulness and maturity. Allow yourself to breathe. And then we'll rise up to a flat back. So you can place hands on shins or thighs, extend out through the top of the head, push your feet into the floor as you also push the top of your head out. And we want to engage that core. So draw it in as if someone just wrapped a corset around your belly, and then exhale back down. And here, if we're at the top of our mat, we can step back, placing the hands down. And we'd be more in this plank-like position, or you could walk your hands out if you were in the back of your mat. If you are at the chair, you would have your hands on the chair, but we don't want to lean back too much. We want to lean into it. And then we would lower ourselves down and shift back for a down dog. If you're here on the floor, you can drop the knees and then lower down. Lift up through the chest for cobra. This is where we get a little belly massage. You do not have to make it really big. In fact, if that bothers you, don't do that. Just a little push. And this is pushing in the floor. So we're feeling our belly on the floor. That's a good thing. Push into the knees. Let the head drop. And then we're going to push back for child's pose. We're going to be in child's pose before we move into that down dog. If you're at the chair, it'll be very similar either way you do it. We're stretching through our back and we're breathing into our body. Stay there.
Detected at the backyard.
Keep breathing. I'm going to unplug her.
Motion detected at the backyard.
And keep breathing. As you're breathing, we're allowing that breath to come into the body, to allow that expansion to happen, allowing that relax, that release, allowing ourselves to move into digestion. Taking another deep breath. And then maybe you bring in one hand and then the other. Lift yourself up, and this is where we move into that downward facing dog. We're stretching a little bit through the hamstrings, but that's not the main purpose. The main purpose is to pull that belly button in tight. Let the chest fall heavy. Let some ease and space come in between the shoulders and the ears, and you can pedal out the heels. But here we really want that tight core, belly button up and in, hips reaching towards the ceiling. Deep breath. Now we're going to take some modifications that are available, but here we're just going to play. So it's like a little lizard crawl. I'm stepping one foot in, and your foot might be way back here. That's okay. Right through here, we're crunching in, and we're stimulating that digestive system again. And we're going to step and step. Step and step. And so you take it as big as you'd like. If you're at the chair, same thing, step, step. And again, that digestive system. So it's similar if I was standing, so this would be another modification. And just lifting up the legs, we're crunching through that core. We're stimulating the digestion. Go ahead and take a break by walking the feet in. Let yourself release. And then use the hands to walk up, stacking the spine. Take a big deep breath. And notice how you're feeling. You can even do that little pat on the back. Get some movement going, getting some playfulness happening. And then we're going to take a side movement from here. So your feet can be all the way together. You could have one foot come around the back. So the back foot is the way that you'll move. So it's allowing us to get an even bigger stretch. Now here, don't drop it all in the low back. Don't be too loosey-goosey. Pull the belly button in, stick the chest up. It might mean that you don't go quite as far. That's okay. Deep breath. You can even take that bottom hand and reach in the opposite direction. Opening up. And then come back to center. Let's do the other side. The other foot can come behind, or you can stay where you're at, reaching up and over. Again, don't just drop and cave. Pull the belly button in. Now, working with the core is also a really great way to stimulate confidence. So working with that chakra area. So the biggest and fastest way to stimulate your confidence is by working with your core. Deep breath. Going back in. Doesn't mean that we're trying to get a six-pack. It means that we're trying to improve that solar plexus. Inhale, reach up. When you feel confident and happy, your digestive system is moving and all the toxins are out of your body. We release the negative thoughts. You can bring the hands sliding down, or maybe you're used to that more traditional wings out. Perfectly fine. Support yourself as needed. Release it out. Shake your head yes. Shake your head no. Deep breath. Inhale, flat back, pushing into the shins, forward thighs, extending outward. Tighten up your core. Exhale, release it back down. Again, you can use the chair. We're going to walk our hands or walk your feet out into that plank. Drop the knees if needed, if you're on the floor, and then lower down. Exhale. Lifting up into that cobra. It can be a baby cobra. Push out through your toes. Roll your shoulders back. Pull in and back through the elbows. Lengthen the neck. Take a deep breath. And then release it down. Push into the knees. Lift through the back of the head. So we're looking at the floor. Pushing back and then into that child's pose. Again, if you notice, we've got this big creasing of the belly. Your knees can be as wide as you need. And so we're getting this open, close to stimulate the digestive system. Take another deep breath. Inhale, lifting up, tucking your toes, downward facing dog. Pedaling here, releasing the neck, release the elbows. We do not want to go in stress response. So here we're really looking for what feels comfortable and allows us to breathe. Not too comfortable, but more on the comfortable side. We're going to shift forward. We've got those little climbs, those little lizard crawls. Stepping forward. Stepping forward. Keep it going. Exhale. Exhale. Again, modifications in the chair. You can even come up to standing and just lift those knees. Whatever makes you feel more playful, get the breath stimulating. For me, I'm trying to talk while I'm doing this, so I came to a little bit easier option. You take whatever feels good for you. Make sure it's that exhale and exhale. And then wherever you land, go ahead and start to walk those feet up. Support yourself as needed. Restack. Roll your shoulders down and back. We're going to take our feet wide. Toes are out. We're just going to rock and sway our hips. So again, we're working with these lower chakras when we're trying to work through that digestive system. So we're getting more into the body. This is also where our root chakra, Malandara, can be off when we're in survival mode so intensely. So really working on relaxing all the muscles around the tip of the tailbone, around all the tailbone spreading out, gets into the sacral chakra as well, and then our solar plexus. Allow yourself to breathe. So maybe you want to do those deep belly breaths. You can place your hands on your belly and just getting that expansion. Releasing. See if you can play with the knees. And we're going to be coming into a wide-legged forward fold next. So you can, again, utilize the chair, or you can just take it to the floor. Okay. So we're going to go a long ways on the mat. And the toes are going to be fairly in line with the heels. You might have them out just a little bit, especially if you've got larger hips. Soften the knees. We always want the knees going with the toes. We do not want to lock the knees, and we also want an even push of toe and heel. This can make some people feel a little uneasy because it makes them feel like they're going to topple over. So just try to center yourself. And then as they come over, again, you can utilize that chair. You can guide yourself down your legs. And you can keep your knees as bent as you need to. We're going to place our hands down in the center. Just let yourself hang loose. And we're going to twist through this one. And we're going to do this like it's a big elephant trunk. So I'm going to place one hand down and the other hand opens up. Now at first you might be a little tight, so you might feel your hips shift. That's okay to start with. And you might not open too much. So what we don't want to do is just throw the hand back there. We really want to make the core do the work. So it's this big exhale. So you can keep your arm as bent as you need to, and then bring it back in. And let's just stay on that side. Let's do it 5 times here. So this big exhale, twist, inhale. Exhale, twist, inhale. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. And then bring it back to center. Let's do the other side. Let's take that practice 1. The elbow might come up. We're twisting through the core. And then bring it back down. Let's do 5. Exhale. 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 Okay, 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Bring it back down to center. Click the heels in. Let your bottom drop a little more. You can bring your elbows to your knees and your hands. Bring yourself up. Shake and wiggle. So the hips are an integral part of all of this as well. We're going to do a couple little, almost are like plie squats. So our heels are in, our toes are out. It doesn't have to be as extreme. We're just going to let it down. Well, here we really want this big release. Relax, and then tense and squeeze. Relax, tense and squeeze. So we're giving ourselves the opposites. So we need to practice the tense up so that we can practice the relax down. So we can feel the difference. Exhale. Inhale. Relax, let it go. And so let's change up that breath. Big exhale through the mouth. Big exhale through the mouth. And then maybe you land. You can shake out your hips. You can give them a little wiggle. We're going to turn the heels back out so the heel and toe are in line. Taking it to that wide-legged forward fold. Hand comes down. This time we're going to hold it. So as we hold it, we want to make sure when we rotate, we're not pulling on either hip. So the hips stay in the center. Rotate through the core, and you can have your hand to hip. You can have hand on heart. Rarely are we at a full extension where the hand can be in line with the shoulder. So hand on heart or hand on hip is a really great way to move through this. Keep pulling tight through that core. It's really easy to make this all about another area of the body, but we want all areas engaged, especially that core. Pulling it in, twisting through it. Exhale. And then release it down. Notice as you turn, Maybe the hips shifted. Try not to shift the hips. Hand down. It might take time. Hand to heart, hand to hip. Keep the hips in center as you rotate through that core. Deep breath. We're almost there for our movement portion. And then release it back down. And then from here, we're going to click those heels in. Bring your elbows to your knees, hands to your legs. Bring yourself back up. Step it back to center. And then we're coming, inhale up. Exhale, bring it down again. You can bring the hands in, bend your knees as much as you need to. Slide it down, hands come down, step it back. Drop the knees. Lower down. Inhale, lift the chest. Push that belly into the floor. Exhale, release it down. Pushing up and through, we're moving into that child's pose. Deep breath. As we come into our next relaxation, we're going to place our feet up the wall. We can lay our legs on a chair or the couch. We're having a light inversion. Bring yourself back up. And so you could lay on the floor with a pillow under your bottom and your legs up the wall. I find, for me, I prefer it this way. So you could lay on the floor with your legs on the chair or couch. You can also do this in bed. So you can lay in bed, you can place your feet up on the wall, which is really great to relax before bed. So here, we can rest down. We want to keep our head fairly flat. We could even bring a little pillow underneath the low back. This is where we're going to rest. Now, while we're here, I'm going to show you that belly massage. So starting on the right side, we would start in this lower area, and we're just going to give a little pulse and pull, pulse and pull. And we're going to start in little areas, and we're just going to move like half an inch. Pulse and pull, push and pull, push and pull. And I go in a circle all the way up, and then pushing downward. So this one I was pulling. And on the left side, I'm going to push downward. Okay, right side pulling up. Left side pushing down. Right side pulling up. Left side pulling down. Now here, as you're doing this, you might notice some spots where it's a little painful almost. That is buildup. That is stuff stuck in your intestines that needs to be pushed through. It should not feel that way. Okay? Now, of course, it varies. Like if we have scar tissue or anything of that sort, of course, use your best judgment. Making sure that you're pulling and then pushing. And we can do different variations. So I really like to start with this pull and push. And then you can do a little drumming. Moving in that circle. You could do little circles. All the way around. We'll do this for about 30 seconds to a minute. That's all. 30 seconds to a minute when you wake up in the morning and before you go to bed. Stimulating that digestion. Now, what we could do, and this would be the less intense option, you could also, or you could take it to a little bit more intense to stimulate the digestion with a base oil, some peppermint oil, and really then massaging just in circles, very soothing, around in a circle around the belly button. You could then use that oil to help assist in that pulling and then pushing and massaging the belly area. We'll then use this as our savasana as well. So palms up, allowing yourself to rest. And again, this resting is extremely important. So often I see people skip savasana at the end of class The whole reason we're moving that energy is so that we can lay and rest in Savasana. Now, at first, when you're first learning it, this can be very irritating almost. But I promise, there is a level of you getting over all of that irritation, that surface level junk that's there. And about 5, even 10 minutes in, 5 to 10 minutes sometimes, suddenly you'll hit this peaceful calm. The more and more you practice Savasana, that riding out that first wave gets shorter and shorter. And you'll be able to get into that peaceful calm a lot faster. But in the beginning, it can take up to 10 minutes for you to really wait out and find that peaceful calm that'll come over the body. But if you just keep breathing and telling your body that you're doing this on purpose, you will find this amazing calm that comes over you. It's like being in a nice warm hot tub or bath, being wrapped up in a fuzzy blanket. That feeling does come over, and then people crave Savasana. So allow yourself to rest here and focus on your breath. We'll feel that big belly breath swelling and releasing. Swelling and releasing. Notice any tension that you have. So maybe your feet come together and the knees open up. If you're at the wall, other things you could do is putting a strap around the legs so that you can relax them. Allow yourself to just breathe. And we are going to be here for about 5 minutes. So go ahead and just let yourself let go. I will watch the clock. So you rest. You're resting. Allowing that digestion to happen. Go ahead and just stay there. Resting and digesting. And so at 1 o'clock, I'm going to tell you to get up. So you go ahead and just completely release. Completely relax. Focus on your inhale and exhale. And if it helps, you can utilize the body scan, starting at the tip of the toes, imagining any tension, releasing from the tip of the toes, relaxing the feet, as if you were in a warm shower, and you're relaxing the muscle one at a time, moving through the ankles, the calves, the knees, the thighs, feeling complete relaxation happening in the hips, in the pelvis. Feeling ease and flow moving throughout the intestines. Feeling your digestive system healing and releasing what you no longer need. You have nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, nowhere else to be except right now healing, relaxing, and releasing. Feel your ribs relaxing and releasing. Feel the collarbone opening up. Allowing yourself to release any pent up, blocked emotions that are being stuffed or restricted in the heart and chest. Feel that upper back melt into the floor. Feeling relaxation and release happening in the shoulders, arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, and fingers. Feel yourself healing, feeling yourself resting and digesting. Feel the throat and neck releasing. Any words that you might have wanted to say, letting it go. Releasing, relaxing, releasing the ears, anything you've heard that you no longer want to hear from yourself or from others is being released and relaxed. We're starting anew. We cleanse away the tension. We relax it. We release it. We allow ourselves to heal. Feel the face relax, release. The jaw, the cheeks, the nose, the eyebrows and eyes, the forehead. You feel this expansion happening on your scalp. You feel yourself breathing freely, allowing, receiving healing, relaxation, rejuvenation, allowing yourself to rest and digest. And as you're here, as you release, as you relax, you feel your digestive system healing, releasing, and you know that you now need to take time each day to breathe, each day to rest so that you can digest. You know that you now have the tools of how to move. You have the tool to massage your belly morning and night. You understand why digestion is so important for you to release the toxins, to release the pent-up emotions, to release anything that's no longer serving you. You relax it, you release it, and as you relax it and you release it, your mind gets clearer. You have more energy. You have more focus. You have more purpose. You feel free in your body. You feel free in your life. You're able to focus on your heart's desires. Feel your breath. Taking a deeper breath. Welling up and swelling up as we make room to clear out, clean out our digestive system. As we release that, we make room for what we really want. And we'll start to wiggle our fingers and toes. You might reach your hands overhead and take a big stretch. And then bring yourself back in. You can curl your knees towards your chest. You might roll over to one side and come back up to seated. We'll take a moment, even once you come back up to seated, and take your time. Take some few deep breaths. Knowing that these are some powerful tools to help you, but they're not all of them. There are even more tools to help. But if you were to do these every day, you will see a difference. You will see a change. And so we'll bring our palms facing up. And we'll bring our thumb to index for peace. Thumb to middle for love. Thumb to ring for compassion. Thumb to pinky for balance. Bring it back in. Compassion, love, peace, bringing them all together. Blooming wide, and then inhale, reach up. Bring your hands to prayer, prayer down to heart. Setting your intention to release. Feel the difference. As we talked today, we spoke about the psoas. That importance to stretch the front side of the body, to get ourselves out of this constriction and into this more playful movement. And so we can do that with that kneeling, standing, or seated stretch. We can also do that by taking time to just lay on the floor and expand. Let yourself get playful. Bring playfulness into your day. And so whatever you're doing, see if you can wiggle. Turn some music on and dance. That's also very releasing. And you'll find that you'll lose weight. So next I want to talk about, and I'll remind you of some of these other things as well. I use the word weight loss because that is our common term. But I urge you to change how you speak about your weight. To change how you think about your weight. Your weight is there to protect you. It is not there to bully you or make you feel bad. It is there because your body is trying to speak to you. Your body is saying there are unprocessed emotions. Maybe there's a bunch of toxins from processed foods, sugars, and unhealthy choices. And it's sitting there reminding you to choose differently. It's reminding you that you have a lot of suitcases full of unprocessed emotions, toxins, that need to be dealt with. Just like if our home, our room, our closet, whatever it might be, needed an overhaul, you would spend the time to clean it out, and that is what we must do with our digestion. We must release. And so spending time to journal, spending time to allow yourself to emotionally heal is really, really key. Noticing when you're reaching for Netflix or for Facebook or social media or your phone or whatever it might be as a distraction. And pausing to say, what is it that I'm really feeling right now? What is it that I'm trying to avoid? So allowing yourself to process those emotions, but also allowing yourself to slow down and enjoy when you do eat. Just by slowing down. Maybe it's you slow down, you look at your food, you take a mental picture of your food, and you say a little gratitude for this food. And then allow yourself to eat slowly and undistracted. So often we will eat while we're doing something else, such as driving, watching TV. Talking is a different story. But allowing yourself to focus on eating, to focus enjoying and chewing and slowing down with the food. And then those self-care practices to manage the stress. We talked about the belly massage, where you would pull on the right side and then push on the left side. You can utilize some oil to stimulate the digestive system. And then we've got these postures where we're folding and doing a lot of breath work while we're doing this gentle twist. Taking that time, and even if you could spend 10 minutes every day with deep breath and these postures, you will see a huge difference in your digestive system and your stress management. So I really urge you to do that. But also the foods that you choose. So I typically support high fiber. So like I had bean soup and a gluten-free cornbread, and it tastes amazing for me. That's one of my favorite foods. It's also really high in fiber. And soup for supper, mushy foods for supper are really healthy for our digestive system. If you'd like to do our 10-day cleanse with us, I go through the best times of day to eat, the best types of foods to eat during those times. And then that cleanse is where we're doing no sugar, low caffeine to no caffeine, and we're restricting our processed foods for 10 days. So we're giving it a lot of attention for 10 days. And it is a little bit of a challenge because you're changing up your normal, but it's to step you into a healthier lifestyle and not a fad diet. So really best practices. Now, I also really highly recommend some supplements that I particularly take, and I can help you out with that if you would like to take those. It helps reduce inflammation. It helps improve your overall health, cholesterol, if you're having thyroid hormones. It's stimulating the digestive tract and really allowing your body to come into homeostasis, a healthy balance. It's overwhelming your body with fruits and vegetables, and it is food in a capsule. It has a food label on it, so it's not just another supplement. You're getting all the nutrients in their natural form. And you will see increased health, increased energy, increased vitality, recovery. It's amazing. It's amazing. I had a lot of liver issues going on because of celiac, and I went from stay on the couch and don't exercise and let your body process to taking these and getting outstanding blood work panel, where they were like, people would pay to have this good. And I'm like, oh, well, they can pay to have this good. And I am offering a special beta program. So I have a program where I'm offering weekly coaching for 30 minutes, one day, every week for 4 months, as we work on improving our confidence, reducing our weight, and really moving into this healthy lifestyle where you'll also be put into the cleanse. I'm offering that if you get on Juice Plus, because I know you're going to have amazing benefits. I'm so sure of that. I am offering up my beta program that I normally charge $3,500 for the 4 months. I'm offering that for free if you get on the 4 capsules of Juice Plus. And so if you are interested in that, weekly coaching, 30 minutes every week, along with some other materials that is normally $3,500, just this week, especially with this little webinar, if you're tuning in, I'm offering that beta program. So it's a tester program just to a select few people, where you get that $3,500 for free when you get onto the Juice Plus product, because you will get results, and I'm so sure of it. So if you want to know more about that, just comment below, I want to know more, and then I will message you, and we'll see if it's a right fit. We'll see if that sounds like it's something good for you. I can show you the products. I can show you the research journals, like medical research journals, that show this really works. So, and then I know it works for me personally. I mean, I went from sleeping all the time and just feeling like my body was turning against me and attacking me, which it was, to healing and having the energy and the focus and the drive. And that was with the product, and then allowing the product to give me the energy so that I could then dive into my self-care, my self-development, and really nourishment on the mental and spiritual level as well. Because if our body is not supporting that, our body is our temple, it makes it really difficult to have the mental clarity. And so we need to get all those toxins out. We need to take care of the body so that we can practice our spiritual and personal development on a mental and energetic level. And that's why it's so important to address the body first. So I hope that you got a lot of tools today. Please let me know what your favorite part was, what you found most useful, because that also lets me know what is it that really hit home with you today? What is something that you're going to definitely practice? What is it that you want to know more about? So if you haven't heard, I'm doing a blog called Ask Izzy, and you get to ask me your health questions. And I'm writing a blog a week, and so I will utilize all of those questions and answer them in these blog posts. And I want to give you really useful tips, things that I would get if you were my client and you asked me and we were setting up protocols for you. I want to give you those tools. So go ahead, ask away. You can drop them here in these comments, or you can message me. If you're in the group and we are not friends on Facebook, by all means, please friend me on Facebook. I keep my personal page fairly professional, and I utilize it to help support people. So I see, as a therapist, as a mind-body therapist, when people post like, oh, I'm not feeling well today, those are really great clues for me to go, hey, what's going on? And okay, have you tried this? Would you like some advice? So I'm not there to be nosy, I'm there to be supportive. And I get on the phone with people all the time and give them free coaching because I have all of these tools and I want to share them. I've been in school for like 10 years, and probably next year I will start my PhD in holistic medicine. So I want to help people heal. Okay? That is my mission first and foremost. Now, when that starts to go, oh, this is a big project, like we have a lot of things to work on, that's when I typically say, like, let's try to work, let's do a program and like really get you some assistance, because it's going to take a big energy exchange. But if it's something I can jump on the phone call with you in 30 minutes to an hour, by all means, yes, and just give you some quick suggestions. I love doing that for people, and I love seeing their posts on Facebook afterwards, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I tried this and it's been such a big change. So yes, utilize me, utilize my tools, but tell me, what was your biggest takeaways from today? What was your biggest takeaway from today? I would love to see those. please comment. Also, ask Izzy, if you've got any health questions, like, hey, can you put more about the belly massage? Can you go into depth more on that? So, oh, Jennifer, you used and it didn't give enough time to work. Yeah. So that definitely, and that's where the coaching comes into play. So Jennifer's saying that she used Juice Plus a long time ago, but she didn't give it enough time for it to fully work. And that was something that I had found the first time I started taking Juice Plus as well. I really didn't have the self-discipline to take it regularly, and so I got off of it. And then when I started having those liver issues is when I went back on it, because I was like, I know this stuff will work. I just have to utilize it. So for sure, if you're interested and you want to get weekly coaching, like, you're going to take it. You're going to take it if you're getting weekly coaching for 4 months. So definitely, I will get with you, Jennifer, on that. But yeah, and if there's anything else you want to know, again, drop your questions for the Ask Izzy blog. Okay. Ask me anything that you need. If you're like, I want to talk about something, I've got another issue going on, and you don't want to post it below, just say, hey, I'd love to talk. But definitely tell me what your biggest takeaway is so that I can know what to give you more of and what really works well and what's beneficial in these webinars. So we are going to be having more webinars coming up. I really suggest going over to izzynally.com and getting on that email list so that I can try to keep everyone up to date and so you don't miss those. But also being in this group, you'll get some notifications hopefully too. So check in with the group to see what's going on. I'm normally posting daily on health tips, doing lives. I love reminding you all, because I came from a world of we ate McDonald's and Wendy's, and my mom was making gluten-filled everything, and she didn't know any better. And I was sick all the time. I was tired all the time, and I had no idea what was going on with my body. And as I got older and I was making healthier choices, and I find this with people often, and I tell them, I'm like, congratulations, you have improved. You have improved from what you learned growing up. But this is still not healthy. And they're like, what? This is the healthiest I've ever eaten. And I'm like, I know our society tells us this is healthy, like eating the Kellogg's bars and having oatmeal and like all these other things, which those are healthy. But often it's still like we're just filling ourselves up with carbs all the time and we're not getting nutrition. Even just the fruits and veggies at the store that are sitting out do not have all the nutrition because the soil isn't as nutrient. They've been sitting out, so they're starting to lose their nutritional value. So often we are not getting all of the micronutrients that we need to really have a well-oiled machine. And that's where sometimes people, even eating healthy and eating at the truly healthy level, still feel like they're not getting enough. I was doing that for a while. I was exercising extremely a lot, extreme amount of exercise, and I was eating kale and these just super, super healthy, but I wasn't keeping up and getting in that added nutrients. Like, I was hardly ever sore after workouts. Like, it was amazing, and I was exercising like 20 hours a week, and I was hardly ever sore. So I know what it really takes. Do I always to a T follow it? No, I'm human, and that is not the way I grew up eating. So I do have to work on that daily to maintain for myself as well. And I've made huge, huge improvements too. So I can help you with that, and that's where I know that coaching really, really comes in handy. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining. And again, stay tuned. I have so much planned to give you all so much more knowledge in the future. We'll be having these little webinars that'll be scheduled as well to make sure that you all know about them. But they're always available for replay, and I will also try to put them on the YouTube channel as well, which is FigLeaf.Fit on YouTube. So it's YouTube/FigLeaf.Fit. And yeah, lots of stuff coming up. Let me know what you want. Do you want more yoga? Do you want more play shops? Do you want more nutritional advice? Do you want more spiritual stuff? I'll probably give it to you all anyways, but I would love to focus it more, especially on what you all want, and especially the ones who are tuning in as well. Mwah, mwah. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you soon. Bye.